So, tell us about your experience with Amelia Earhart.
Well, the heavy cruiser Salt Lake City, which I served on for 4 years, we had been on war maneuvers, which 2 or 3 times a year they'd send a fleet out for maybe for a week on war maneuvers, and we'd put in port at Pearl Harbor for 4th of July holiday. And of course part of the crew was on 24-hour leave, but they got the message about Amelia Earhart was missing, and they ordered the crew back to the ship, and we took off with another cruiser, the Chester, and a couple of destroyers, and the aircraft carrier Lexington on a high-speed run down to the area where she was supposed to disappear, which was in the area of the Howland Islands. We got down there, and they have like what they call a grid in a search area, you know, and ships just go back and forth both directions, and we never did find a thing. But in that high-speed chase down there, or to get to this area, which was, I don't remember for sure, but probably maybe 1,800 miles, and the ship was really a mess from the high speed, you know. The pollution from the stacks are much worse than if you're just cruising along at 5 knots or 10 knots. So we had several days work cleaning the ship afterwards, but
yeah,
that's about the end of that story.
So what about your experience with Will Rogers?
Well, I don't remember exactly the year. I'm confused with Will Rogers, our trip north to Alaska, and our trip south to Santiago, Chile, and Amelia Earhart. Those 3 things I'm confused with. There was 35. It's like 34, 5, and 6 or something like that. But I don't remember which is which, see. We happened to be in Puget Sound at that time for extended visit. See, we'd make what they call goodwill tours. Our home port was Long Beach, California. But we'd go on goodwill tours at various times when we weren't out on some kind of maneuvers, and just visit different ports. And we happened to be in the Seattle area at that time. We'd spent 2 or 3 days at Port Townsend and Port Angeles, and I think we were actually we were just in the Seattle, but we had close enough to Seattle itself that we just go back and forth in the motor launches. And we watched the Will Rogers and Wally Post take off. And we immediately...
So you hoisted anchor?
Yeah, it just so happened we were scheduled to go on this Alaskan cruise up the Inland Passage. So almost immediately we pulled anchor and started up to the Inland Passage. And like I said, they got the radio message that Will Rogers, see, just in a few hours, see, their flight time up there probably was maybe 2.5 hours, So I doubt if we was much further than Victoria maybe by the time we got the message. It wasn't actually in the Inland Passage yet, but we got the word that they had fueled up in Point Barrow and then crashed on takeoff. And like I said, we of course continued our cruise, and I always figured that the fact that we were scheduled at different places like Ketchikan and Alki Bay and what else? Oh, Juneau and something else. We were scheduled to stops at those places on our Goodwill tour. So I always figured maybe that's the reason that they switched the orders and sent their bodies back on this Coast Guard cutter. Now I forgot the name of it. North Star. But we continued on our trip, and I remember playing baseball up there at midnight without any lights.